Welcome back. Thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please like, share, and subscribe. You can see behind me, I have got my GMC Duramax in the picture there. Every couple of years, this truck starts running hot. I have to pull the radiator out, move the condenser, move the charge air cooler, and literally clean all the stuff that gets caught in the fins of the radiator. Now, it started running hot last summer again, and usually it only runs hot for me, pulling a long hill in the summer. Fully loaded trailer, I'm talking 15, 16,000 pounds. I'm going to do a little something additional to that this time. I'm going to add a secondary radiator, and that radiator is going to go down below the original radiator. It's going to tie into it. What that's going to do is increase my cooling system capacity by about 2 gallons, plus that increase of cooling system capacity is also going to be in something that will dissipate. Mine has a manual transmission, and that's pretty rare, and generally the manual transmission ones don't have a problem with running hot, pulling trailers. One of the things a lot of people overlook is there's a 1/2 inch space between your charge air cooler and the radiator, and lint, debris, dirt starts clogging those up, and then you reduce your airflow to almost nothing or very little compared to what it should be. So before you spend a bunch of money on fan clutches and water pumps and secondary radiators, which I actually really like, pull the cowling off of the front, and you can kind of see where stuff is getting clogged up. Now with the cowl off, you can see I'm getting large amounts of debris clogging these fins. Well, I can't get enough movement in the radiator to really get between there. Now you can take the cowl off or the fan shroud off and try to go to the car wash and spray and back clean it, but I don't think I'll be able to get it clean enough, so I don't know who put this on. It was there when I got it. So I'm going to just remove some of this on the front. The grill just pops out with spring clips. There is one 10mm bolt. Mine happens to be broken, but there is one. But you have to pull the headlights out and pop all these clips out and pull the grill off, and then you can split everything at that point. That's definitely enough to cause an airflow restriction. So I'm going to blow the charge air cooler out from the backside. I'm just going to take this down the car wash and really clean it out. That way I can get water flowing through all those fins. I don't know if you can see that, but that is some dark dirt coming out of the radiator. Clean. I haven't installed it yet, and I can install it before I install this auxiliary radiator. This truck generally doesn't overheat, but when it does, it's because I'm pulling a long hill in the middle of summer with a 15,000 pound trailer on it. I think that's just an inherent Duramax issue. But since I'm going ahead and doing all this, I decided last summer, the next time I had the radiator out, I am going to install one of these. This is, I want to make sure I get this company right, coolertowing.com. I purchased one of these and installed it in a dually I had a few years ago that was consistently overheating. It fixed the entire problem immediately. A lot of people say you can go with a bigger oil cooler. That really doesn't help your cooling system. You can add auxiliary fans. You can do all kinds of other things that will help keep it cool. I put this auxiliary radiator in because it increases the cooling system capacity and it displaces heat. You can get this with a cooling fan system. These are fairly expensive add-ons, so if you're not towing much, it might not be advantageous. I have never installed this with a fan on any of the Duramaxes I've done. I've only installed the radiator. It gets enough ambient airflow coming through the front of the bumper to cool the system. But what I found was increasing the cooling system capacity is what really makes this work. Up behind the bumper, there's a little plate that comes out. You have to cut that out. The GMCs, you have to cut it out. On the Chevys, I don't think you have to on that, but you will have to cut it out on the Chevys if you're running the auxiliary fan. Now, these other two bolts that hold your frame bumper assembly on, you remove those bolts. I find it easier to trim off the little ears that are on these two pieces of metal. It makes the radiator fit a little easier. And then if this front tab is trimmed up or trimmed back, it'll allow you to slide the bumper a little tighter under the radiator, or under the radiator under the bumper. And then there's a lower bracket we'll get to in a minute. Now I've got the radiator set in place. Now I'm underneath the vehicle looking up. You want to center this, and you'll have to drill a couple of holes in the upper tab of the radiator. And then there's a bracket that they give you for the lower. Now generally this bracket bolts through the side of the frame, but if you recall, well, you probably don't because I didn't have this channel back then, but at one time I had a plow on this truck and I've kind of changed some stuff up here. And I think for me, I will get a better fit if I drill a hole here, trim this bracket off, and then I can drill a hole for the lower portion of this radiator, and I can get a little better protection because I can it just tucks up a little bit better. And the hoses will still come out here and into my radiator. I left it sitting in the unit, and I took my marker and just marked where I'm drilling a couple holes, one on each side, and that's where it'll mount to those two bumper bolts I took out. Before you put your radiator in on its final deal, you really want to put your air blade in. That way you can burp this system because obviously the hoses are down there. You won't be able to get to that real easy once this thing is installed. Now you can see how the radiator actually sits between the frame rails here. And the bolts that I pulled out, I'm just setting those in there. I'm not bolting them down yet. Next piece I want to do is get my lower support made. Now keep in mind, I had a plow on this truck and I've made a few modifications up here when I did that. So mine's going to fit a little different. Generally, these will bolt right into an existing hole. Now once you bolt this bracket back in, I just drill these other holes while it's in there. Now while I'm down here, I thought I'd point this out. I trimmed this off, but there's a hole I have that was filled in with weld at one point. That's where this bracket actually bolts to. And I've got some other stuff that was changed for that plow. So I went ahead and cut this, bolted mine in from the bottom. That's where you would bolt it if you didn't have this. All right, back to drilling. Okay, unboxed the hardware, and I'm pleasantly surprised I can use their hardware and I don't have to use my own. They are running grade 8 bolts. They supply the rubber bushings, which I kind of like using those because it makes this radiator have a little bit of flex. If we're in an accident or something, it may keep it from cracking, moving. It also takes some of the stress off of the mounting tabs. So kudos to this outfit for using good hardware. I usually just throw their hardware away and use my own, but he's using really good hardware. And the hoses and clamps are real high quality too. Now I've got the hoses on, I haven't tightened the clamps down. My next step is to install the radiator before I cut my hoses. Then I'll show you how the rest of this hookup goes. Okay, now I'm getting ready to do hoses. Now I have not tightened these clamps up on the radiator because it'll be easier to do those last. But I did put the aluminum tubes that come with this kit
into the hose ends. And that gives me a better idea of where I need to cut this lower hose. So this side here, I'm going to cut right about where that clamp used to be. And then the other side comes down, and I will probably have to cut about right there. Then I can clamp those in. The last thing when I do the install, I'll put the ends back on and then... All right, I got the air blade line on. You want to make that so it goes generally uphill. And it comes up here where I tee it into the hose going to the pressure bottle and the top of the radiator. This new piece of air ducting they give you, the old ones get pretty ratted out by the time you get them this old, so it's nice to have those as well. These hold downs don't come with the kit, but I have them, so I'm going to use them. Perfect. Got my tubes. Now, I slid these on probably more than I really needed to. I mean, they're on quite a ways. I could have trimmed more out of this lower hose, but what I did do is I used a piece of the lower hose that I trimmed out as a rub guard for the chassis up here. And I was able to use the upper half of the clamp for the guide for the little secondary bypass hose. But basically I have crisscrossed these hoses. One of them goes straight and the other one kind of goes at an angle. But my lower hoses are done now, so I can fill this up with coolant. All right, anyone that knows me know I can't leave well enough alone, so I figured out I can put a little piece of screen down here. I didn't even have to cut this. It was just in my scrap bin. Little rock protection there, and I cheated. I painted the top side before I stuck it up here, so now I'll just put a piece of cardboard in there and paint the bottom side. Full of coolant, make sure to open the flute valves so you can work the system, and then top it off. You are good to go for cooling system now. And that looks pretty good. And it's fairly well protected anyway, but I like having a little screen there just in case. All right, Duramax has been completed. Just checking some fluids here today. As a follow-up on the cooling system, this truck running the passes now never gets above 200 degrees. That's a success to me. I don't have to worry about it pulling a heavy load. I think my next venture on this truck is going to be doing injectors. They're starting to get a little foggy back there when it sits in idles. That's for another day. For now, we're going to use the truck to haul the rigs up four-wheeling. So again, thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Looking good. Awesome.
got a little way to go before it can kind of match that, you know.
Got to give him credit though. He's like 78 years old now. He's still out here rocking it. Pivot you around, Keith. Getting there. Rear steer portal cars, you know? Almost defies gravity. There you go. is.
Right line already.
No, it's your links. Yeah, it's your links.
Change the line a little bit.
We need to start stacking rocks up here.
Well, I mean, I used to just drive through that. It wasn't even an obstacle.
Well, Rock Junction, I drove my 4Runner. I didn't even slip a tire.
Right. He's a long wheelbase. He might. It's good or bad. I don't know.
If he gets out of the holes, but he's on something.
He's in the holes.
The
He's on
belly's
his
on.
lines. Yeah.
He's not even.
Alright, you're gonna start climbing. The other problem is everyone tries it.
Gonna slide off.
Yes, it is.
Peer pressure. If you look at him sitting here,
I wouldn't come this way, Glenn. I would stay that way.
That was probably the wise move there. Backing up.
Or like you said, if you can swing it wide and get your tire not blocked down there.
Mud makes zero traction.
It's like quick thing.
Somebody put a strap on him before he goes under.
You have to dry them tires off. More throttle. You're almost there.
Following that rock now?
Yeah.
You're in a bad spot, man.
I know. I need to probably move.
Here, come on up here and video.
Uh-oh.
Now he's got to start over.
Wah wah. There you go.
Sorry, kid. At all, it might help him because I think he'll miss it.
Bump it. Nice. Smooth.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
how,
This is a whole new trail.
that's how it was over in China. That
Silt. Yeah.
lady stuff. Hey, don't mess up. Bumper on.
Bumper on.
Yeah, it'll come up though. Turn this way a little bit. Alright, coming down, passenger front. The only one I'm really concerned is that is a dip catcher right there. That's why you got to go up on those rocks there on the right hand side. There you go, come driver. Turning your rear end, turning your rear end. Back up passenger a little bit. Or back up. It's just pivoting back around. There you go. Alright, straight forward from there. When you can. Hey, just turn as you come. There you go, straight forward where you got it. That's a good line. Keep what you got. Coming down. All right, keep coming straight. Straight. Don't turn it. Hold it straight. No, straight. Good right there. Hold it right there. Now turn passenger or driver. Back passenger. There we go. That rear look like it's trying to climb at all. Right, but it's the tire. Yeah, hey, keep coming.
Will it come forward at all? Don't worry about the steering.
There it is. There it is. Straighten it out if you can. Huh? Straighten it out if you can. There's no way, dude. I mean, as you come, if you can, as you come. That right rear tire is starting to climb. You're almost through that first part.
You're fine.
We got air. We got air. We can pump it back up. It's not all jammed up. Can you like rock it back and forth and wiggle it as you come forward? Alright, try to lean it back slightly. Let's see if you can hold it straight. Not a good position. I need to winch you back a little bit.